right, 7:36 at Kiss FM with Big Papa and Banna. We got cloudy skies today. A few flurries possible. High 35. Right now we are at 31 degrees. Updated closings, delays online at cnykiss.com. Now time for the Slocum Dickson medical moment, courtesy of Slocum Dickson, of course located on Bridgestone Road, New Hartford. And Adrian, the marketing manager in studio. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Now, as far as this is a big week because it's Heart Run Week.
Right.
And before, like, February is Heart Month. Mm-hmm. But honestly, what the organizers did of the Heart Run and Walk is like, hey, you know what? Everyone's complaining it's too cold, so they moved it to the first Saturday of March. Right. And, you know, this is the first time we've been over 30 in a long time. So it's not technically in Heart Month, but it's all about heart this week. And, right. You know, obviously Slocum, a major part of what's going on, right?
Yeah, and we've sort of taken the Heart Month and kind of extended it a week too, just like everyone else has because of the Heart Run and Walk. So yeah, we'll be there this weekend, Friday at the Expo. We'll be there all day with a table, and please, you know, stop by. We have tons of information about heart health.
That Expo really is fantastic. There's so many different things to do and whatnot. So, and you guys are doing what at the at your? We'll
have information about heart health, some things you can take away, you know, the signs of heart disease and you know, of heart attack, and then also some giveaways from Slocum Dickson. Everybody loves the free stuff, so
absolutely,
you know, come on by, and information about our doctors. So plenty of things. And then we have some doctors involved in the risk assessment portion of the Expo, which is a wonderful thing if you get to go down there and do that. And they'll be at the end there talking to some people with a bunch of other physicians that volunteer as well. So
absolutely. And you actually brought someone with you today. And what we're going to end up doing as we do this medical moment is you'll be coming in and you'll be bringing a different representative, almost like a specialty of all the different areas that Slocum Dickson has to offer, right at whether it be the Bridgestone Road location or the other locations as well. Of course, you can go to SDMG, Slocum Dickson Medical Group, SDMG.com, or like them on Facebook and get all the information. Can you introduce who you have with us today?
Yes, so we have one of our cardiologists with us, Dr. Kumar, who joined us in the fall this year, and we're so happy to have him with us, and he can tell you all about heart health and how to kind of prevent those things.
Dr. Kumar, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you for coming in. When you're talking about, unfortunately, it seems like everyone knows someone who is either been affected by heart disease or has lost someone from heart disease. I've lost somebody. Ben is actually suffering from heart disease. You know, she absolutely has. You know, she has something. She can't drink coffee and caffeine and all that stuff, so she has to be very careful with that stuff. Let's talk about warning signs, because a lot of times you don't find out about heart disease until it's too late, right?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely right. You know, so I mean that's the biggest factor that, you know, we need to you know, spread to the public today is the very vague atypical signs of heart disease. You know, because even today, heart disease is the #1 killer across all ages. All right. So unfortunately,
that's
you know,
awful.
Yeah. So you know, the symptoms of heart disease typically would be, you know, like classic chest pain or, you know, chest pressure, but not always patients have those classical signs. So I mean, I'm referring to atherosclerotic heart disease, which is the most common you know, reason for heart attacks, which is due to plaque buildup. So the typical sign is called angina, you know, where symptom is called angina, where patients would have substernal chest pain or pressure, you know, especially with activity, and they got to sit down or take rest and then take a nitro for it to go away.
Now, you see, I always call that. I always thought I called that being fat, because I get that. I get winded really. But seriously, if it's really concentrated on your chest, that's the big thing. Now, I always heard. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because what I've always heard is if you have chest pain and one of your arms goes numb, that's like a, oh my gosh, you know, call 911 kind of a deal. Is that right? Or could it be more than that? Could it be less than that?
It could be more than that, or it could be less than that, because the classic signs of heart attack, they're not always seen. Symptoms could be as vague as just jaw pain. Patients may be thinking that they're having a toothache, and you know, they might be just having some jaw pain or
I've never heard
pain.
that. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's
and
crazy.
sometimes, they would just have like shoulder aches or, left arm discomfort mostly, or sometimes it could be a vague sense of indigestion. They might be postponing their symptoms as if it's, their stomach, So symptoms could be pretty vague, and, if there is something that's really causing concern, better get them checked out. So, because I think it's always safer to exclude a significant heart condition.
Yeah, better to be safe than sorry. One other thing that I've always heard, and I'm glad that you're here because everybody gets the third hand information, the third hand.
Right.
Well, if ever, you should always do this. The wives' tale is that if you think you're having a heart attack, that you should have Tylenol. Is that true or no, or is it something like that?
No, it's generally aspirin is recommended.
Aspirin, okay.
Yeah.
Now,
So
see,
they could
that's
chew an
why,
aspirin,
because you have to make because there's a difference.
Isn't it baby aspirin? Are
Yeah,
supposed to take
basically any
baby?
chewable aspirin that they can have, like, the standard dose is 325 milligrams.
Okay.
But, if they have a baby aspirin 81, they could take 4 of them, when they are, having signs, of a heart attack, so that's recommended,
Now, what kind of, now obviously you're a cardiologist, Dr. Kumar, at Slocum Dickson. And again, this is the Slocum Dickson Medical Moment. They're located on Burstone Road. Like them on Facebook, facebook.com/Slocum Dickson, and of course, sdmg.com. When, if someone feels like, they're like, they go to their primary and they like, and they come to you, which, specialty,
Right.
which if you have a primary not located within Slocum Dickson, it's still okay to come to the cardiology department at Slocum Dickson, which is one thing we want to make sure that people know.
Correct.
But what happens from that point? Because, the cardiology is such a specialized thing. What happens from there?
So typically, we evaluate the patients. If someone has suspicious signs of a heart condition, and then we evaluate the patient on basis of their risk factors. If they have underlying, history of smoking or diabetes or, high cholesterol or high blood pressure. And if they did have concerning symptoms in light of risk factors, we would do further testing. Most commonly we do a stress test, to find out if they have any indirect evidence of a blockage in the heart artery. And then, if symptoms are stable and, depending on the stress test results, we make a decision whether to treat this with medications or to pursue further with the heart catheterization. So, and those kind of decisions is made, once the cardiologist evaluates the patient.
I'll tell you what, there are certain things that you can kind of, I don't want to say kind of like, put off, if you will. There's certain things, I stubbed my toe, maybe, okay, fine, whatever. But if there's something as important as your heart, you really need to act on it, and you definitely need to catch it earlier rather than later.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially when patients visit with their primary care providers, even if they think that symptoms are minimal, they might think that, it's not important, but, it could turn out to be important. So just mention the symptoms to your doctor when you have your doctor's visit. And if the doctor feels that this is something concerning that needs further evaluation, we'll be happy to evaluate the patients, from a cardiology standpoint.
That's fantastic. Dr. Kumar, cardiologist at Slocum Dickson Medical Group. This is the Slocum Dickson Medical Moment. Burstone Road in New Hartford is the main hub. Their phone number is 798-1500. They do have family practice doctors, physicians that are accepting new patients. I bring that up only because sometimes people feel like they're stuck with theirs and they can never leave, even if they're unhappy. If you want to, switch teams, like I went somewhere, I grew up on Slocum and I left and I wasn't happy and came back. I left because my guy retired, honestly. So I went somewhere else and I came back, and I'm so glad I came back now. I'm with Dr. Silveraja now. And if you aren't happy and you want to, try a new primary, absolutely, Slocum Dickson is the place to go.
Yeah, and our website is a great resource to find out doctors that are taking patients. And then also people that don't have a primary care. Some people think they don't need it, and you really should. And to help
Those are
prevent
the
some of
stubborn
these.
ones. Those are the stubborn ones. I'm good. Rub some dirt on it. We're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
one more
it's-
thing I wanted to mention that, from a patient standpoint, it's so much convenient, especially in this weather for all the elderly folks, to get their care all in, one roof. And many times, even in cardiology, we try to be more efficient. We try to do the testing if they require at the same time when the patient is there so that they don't need to come back multiple times, and
Absolutely. That's
really,
one. I mean, that's one of the conveniences of Slocum Dickson.
Right.
It's so much is offered under one roof. You can go bang, bing, bang, boom, upstairs, downstairs, over here. It's all under one roof. You don't have to worry about making different appointments, taking extra time off of work.
Correct.
It really is convenient. However, if your primary is not in Slocum and they recommend going to see a cardiologist, I suggest going and seeing you. That's just me.
Yeah.
That's just me. Slocum Dickson Medical Group online, sdmg.com. Make sure you like their Facebook, facebook.com/Slocum Dickson. It was great meeting you. Thank you so much for coming in.
Nice to meet
Adrian,
you.
we'll see you at the expo
Yes,
over at
yep,
UC this weekend, all
definitely,
right?
yep.
Okay, we're going to break, come back, full look at your weather coming up here on KISS FM.